Hey guys, Robert again, and in this video we are going to talk about the toString method. Once again, this is a method that is automatically inherited from the object class, and the purpose of this method is to return a string representation of the object. Now, just like the hashcode and equals method, this method also has a default implementation, and I want to show you what that is, and then show you how to very easily create a overridden toString method to represent this particular object. So down here I've commented out the hashcode method because the toString method actually calls the hashcode method, and I want to show you what the default hashcode method is and how that is represented in the toString method. First of all, let me tell you, or let me discuss just a couple things about the toString method. Whenever we pass an object to a println method, we can invoke the toString method explicitly, just like we're doing here, or if we don't explicitly invoke the toString method by passing this reference to the println method, the toString method will automatically be called here. So let's run this program and take a look and see what we've got. Alright, now the very first thing that we do here is to create this x1 object and then call the x1 toString method and take that and pass it to the println method. So this is what we get. Down here we're creating an x2 object, and then the very first thing that we're doing down here is to print the toString method by passing this object to the println method, and so this is what we get right here. Now notice that the toString method, the default implementation, has a very specific format. The very first thing that it does is to actually print the class, the name of the class that is, excuse me, the name of the class of the object that is invoking the toString method. Then we've got the @ symbol, and then this value right here, that represents the hash code. If we think of memory as just a large array, every byte in memory has a specific address, and that address actually indexes into the array to find the location of that byte. And so the default hash code method actually returns the location in memory of this object. So notice that this value and this value are different because the x1 object is totally different from the x2 object. So the x1 object resides at this address returned by the hashcode method, and this object resides at this address returned by the hashcode method. And again, this is the default implementation of the hashcode method because remember we commented out the hashcode method right here. So let's do this. Let's get the hashcode method back in business here by uncommenting it, and then we're going to run the program again, and you'll see in this case that we've got this hashcode method right here and this hashcode method right here. These are the actual hashcode values that are printed here and here. But in this case, notice that we've got this value and this value, and they are the same in this case. So the reason that this value that's printed and in the toString method and this value that represents the actual hashcode value is because this represents the hexadecimal equivalent of this integer value. So that's the toString method in terms of how it uses the default implementation of the toString method, where we've got the name of the class, the @ symbol, and then the value of the hash code expressed as a hexadecimal number. Now what we want to do obviously is to create a more useful toString method. So we're going to put our cursor just right here, and just like we've done before, we're going to come up here to the source and say generate toString method. A couple options down here. We don't need any of this stuff. We just want the fields to be represented in the toString method as the default, and click OK. And here's our toString method then. Notice that we've got, we're using the string format method right here, and the string format method works just like the printf method by creating using this format string and then two values right here. Inside the format string we've got I equals %s and d equals %s. So we're going to translate this integer value as a string and stick it right here, and translate this decimal value as a string and stick it right here. So now when we run this program, we get this is the toString method for x1, and this is the toString method being called for x2, and they're both the same because these values are the same. Let's do something here. Let's just change these values right here to just something different, and then we'll run the program again. And now notice that we've got different values printed here, obviously, but also we've got a different hash code value right here because these values or these objects are no longer the same. Consequently, we get different hash code values. So that's the toString method.